Hey guys, how y'all doing today? I thought I'd make a quick video reacting to Asmongold's talking about his dad, which, yeah, it was kind of hard to watch, to be honest. Something none of us should ever have to really go through, but we have to, for the most part. But hey, let me get into my react of this, because I really do enjoy Asmongold, or Zach. Um, he lost his father. Um, a very spry man, a very, for me, he said, very strong man. And it kind of hits home because that's how my dad is. Very strong, very spry. And about the same age. So, but let's get into this and take a look here. And this, before we go further, don't be, show him some love. Shows Asmongold some love. Let him know that we're here for him. Don't be some parasocial weirdo. But yeah, just keep him and his family and his father in your thoughts and prayers. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right.
Hi guys, I don't really have much of a script for this one, just gonna kind of do it off the top of my head. And I guess I want to talk a little bit about my dad. A lot of you guys probably already know, but earlier this week he passed away, and it was pretty traumatic to say the least. And I was
That's an understatement. I don't know how he's handling it so well, but we'll just keep watching.
there with him the whole time. It was just me and him, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about it and explain kind of where I'm at, and also kind of like give you guys an explanation of, oh, why hasn't he been on? Well, that's the reason. 3 or 4 days before he passed, the doctors told me that, well, actually, let me take a step back, okay? So, ever since about 2023, his health has been on the decline, and it has been on the decline despite his best efforts. He had fought against multiple infections. He got pneumonia 6 times, and
Jesus Christ, 6 times. Oh,
multiple infections. He got pneumonia 6 times in 2 years, basically, maybe a little bit longer than that. And one of them ended up, the most recent one, ended up leaving him hospitalized. That was the one later in June. And that's whenever things really, kind of the temperature of things really got turned up and it started getting really bad. But for about 2 years now, I've been doing a lot. I've been going over to his house, multiple times a week, doing a lot of chores for him, doing
that right there. He's a good son. He's a very good son. Pardon me, my phone is beeping. I'm not editing this, so. But yeah, he's a good son.
over to his house, multiple times a week, doing a lot of chores for him, doing things like, anything from going shopping for him to, like doing the sheets on his bed, making sure that his floor is vacuumed, etc. Right? I was basically maintaining his entire house and cleaning it because, I didn't want to have to, I guess it's in a way dishonorable, I think, to him to like ask for maids to come clean up his house, especially. And so it was my responsibility.
I get where he's coming from, but I'm not going to put words in his mouth. I'm going to say this: it gave him time to spend more time with his father. because he saw that all the pain that his father was going through and all the fighting he was going through. That man was a fighter. And let's just keep.
Like asked for maids to come clean up his house, especially. And so it was my responsibility, I thought, as his son, to do that for him, and I did. And so that was the reason why a lot of times I would end my stream at about 7 to 8 p.m. It's mainly just to call him and, make sure that he has everything he needs. And this has been something I've been doing for the past 2 years, ever since June of this year. And I mean, this is let me one more. I apologize. As I said, I don't really have like much of a internal script for this one. But when he got his pneumonia for the fourth time, before the fourth pneumonia, he's 76 years old. He's been through Vietnam. He's had heat stroke before. He has, again, 78. Half of one of his lungs was gone, and he was still walking, a brisk like 5K every single day in like 30 or 40 minutes.
Wow. Missing a lung. All those infections and pneumonia. The man was not giving up easy. Can the rest of us do that? Yes, we can. But there's some that cannot. So, I digress. I don't have any script for this. I don't write anything. I just like to say it as it's on my mind. So, and I can see it in his face. He's in pain. If you can't see it, then you're blind.
And this is like at 76 years old. He would do this every single day. And this is after 3 pneumonias, but the fourth one really kind of, it pretty much almost got him. I mean, and, we were talking about this, and, he was a fan of boxing. And so, he was saying, it was like the count was 6 or 7, right? And it was like 4 or whatever. It's like he was almost out with that fourth pneumonia, but somehow he managed to pull through, and with a good type of new antibiotic and everything, he had recovered pretty much. Excuse me, pretty much entirely. And this was kind of like this had gone relatively well. Like he was going back to being at the store. He lived alone pretty much his whole life, and even at the end, I would come over every single day and help him for hours.
Another point. He's a good son. He just came over knowing that his dad needed help and did what he needed to do, needed what had to be done. And of course, the most important part, spend time with his father.
His whole life, and even at the end, I would come over every single day and help him for hours. But he did live alone. Like he would shower by himself. He would be able to take care of himself, cook himself meals, etc. Although that was something that I was kind of like, because I could see, I'm not stupid, right? And like I could see where things are going, so I had a lot of, home care stuff, personal chefs set up, and everything. Were for whenever he thought it was time, I would be ready for it to be time. And so, ever since 2023, he and I had been on relatively the same page, that we were kind of living on borrowed time. And it was a miracle that he even came out of that pneumonia at all. And we ended up being able to, earlier this year, go to Florida. And Florida is where I was born. It's where he grew up as well. And it's where the majority of my family is. And so we went out there, and I think back right now to, like the fact that we were able to go out there. He was able to see everybody in the family and spend all this time with them. And at the time, I was very frustrated because I had to take time away from my stream. It was the same week that Expedition 33 came out. I was very frustrated.
This is my just kind of message to Asmongold. Dude, it's all right. You got to take time to be with your family. And remember, family comes first. I mean, look at how many people love you in a non-parasocial weirdo way. And how many people are sending their prayers and thoughts and well wishes and get wells and all that. Which, and then after the fact, everyone mourning for you, mourning with you. But for a majority of us, we need to leave you be.
I had to take time away from my stream. It was the same week that Expedition 33 came out. I was very frustrated and annoyed, also Oblivion. But, I look back on that and I'm just so proud and happy that I ended up making that decision at this point, right? Because he was able to see everybody, and he saw them in good health too. Like he was, I don't know how this even happened, but he was 78 at the time, and he was still walking around and like going from like 9 a.m. to like 2 a.m. every single day. And so he had an incredible amount of energy, had like multiple jobs. And so now I guess now I can finally go to the recent period of time, which is whenever I kind of started being very intermittent in my streaming. You can look at my graph, and like my stream hours had went way down, right? And this was the reason. It was because my dad had been to the hospital 3 times, and the third time was obviously the time that he didn't leave. But the first time he had pneumonia, and he called me, and things just progressively got worse. The second time he called me, and I'm on the phone with him, and he calls me in the morning. He says, "Hey, I don't want you to freak out, okay? Like you always do, but I've got acute liver failure, and I need to go to the emergency room right now." And I'm like, I was like so in shock. I was like, I didn't know what to say, and so I asked him. I said, "Are you cooked?" And he's like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "Are you dead?" And he's like, "I don't know. Let's go find out." And I'm like, "Okay." And so we go over there, and like he turned out, long story short, had pancreatic cancer.
Shit. Say that I did not know. That is horrible. My great grandmother had. That's what got her. God, I feel so bad for him. I wish, I'm not one of these parasocial weirdos, but, you can at least feel you know, feel something for somebody like Asmon, who lost a very important person in his life. I mean, I dread losing my parents or anybody in my family. But, and the joke I've always made is, look, I'm going first. And it's a selfish thing on my part. But, yeah, I've always said I'm no one. I tell this joke all the time in my family. It says, like, look, none of y'all allowed to die before I do. But let's get back to him.
Like he turned out, long story short, had pancreatic cancer. Not a good day. Worst cancer to have.
Yep.
And I remember telling him that he had pancreatic cancer, and somehow he didn't get the memo that he had pancreatic cancer. I was the one that was called and told before he was. And so he called me, and he's complaining about the nurses because the nurses are waking him up at night. And he's in the middle of a rant, and I interrupt him and I say, "Pa, just real quick, did the doctor talk to you?" He says, "No." He says, "What's going on?" I said, "You've got pancreatic cancer." He's, "Oh, okay." Well, so anyway, so it's like
I would be having a conversation with. I mean, I don't want to say it this way, but the doctors really should have told their patient what this was going on. Jesus God. I'll be talking to some attorneys, to be honest. But, now's not the time. And it's up to Asmon to figure that out for,
4 in the morning, and this bitch comes in here, and he didn't even care. He didn't give a fuck. And it was honestly like I've never met a person in my entire life who gave less of a fuck than my dad. It's honestly been inspiring.
That's like my dad. Yeah.
Life who gave less of a fuck than my dad. It's honestly been inspiring to me, and hopefully I try to embody that as much as I can. But
Buddy, I think you're doing a great job.
inspiring to me, and hopefully I try to embody that as much as I can. But it was really astonishing, and so he was in the hospital for that, and he came out of that, and obviously we went to the oncology place. And guys, I hate to say it, man, like I've been to hotels that are worse and that don't look as good as these oncology fucking places, these like clinics, everything. Never curing cancer, bro. Like this is like they've got like fucking like everything is wood, like like polished oak, and like you go into the bathroom and it's got like almost like a golden fucking toilet. So yeah, guys, I don't know about this whole cancer cure thing you've got going on. A little bit unlikely, but
Let's get off topic for a second. Curing cancer does not make anybody money. So why should, all the research that's been put into cancer treatments and all that, be profitable for any of these big wigs, multi-billionaires and all that stuff, and big pharma. It would destroy big pharma, which I would gladly love to see cancer be cured of all types, sorts of types. But we dealt with losing my uncle at 59 years old, having multiple cancers. And that wasn't easy on us, but because he was so young and so spry and full of life, even towards the end there. It's a horrible, horrible thing to watch somebody go through. And just, if you're out there and you're struggling with cancer, just remember to fight it as hard as you can. And I can't really say much more. I don't. Let's keep watching.
anyway, so my dad, he and I went there, and he got along really well with the doctor, and he's walking in there. By the way, this is like after he's supposed to be on oxygen, and he had recovered so much that he would be walking around. This is like literally like at this exact time, right? More than about 2 weeks ago, he was walking around the local grocery store here at HEB. He was walking around with no oxygen, the whole store, just talking to people, shopping like normal, right? And then, it was really the chemotherapy. I think really was what got him. Is that he had
Chemotherapy is just pumping drugs into you that are horrible for you to try to combat cancer. And I've seen too many people go through that. And Jesus, it's just not pleasant to just watch.
the chemotherapy. I think really was what got him. Is that he had his first, I think it's chemotherapy, and then this is like the same week that he was actually walking around the store. So like he had even got chemo, he was still walking around, no oxygen and everything. After the pneumonia, after the pancreatic cancer diagnosis, he was stage 2A with pancreatic cancer. So we were talking about like maybe like they were able to do a procedure to remove it. In retrospect, this procedure, if I think back on like what do they really do? This is like something that they would do in like Game of Thrones, right? It's like this isn't a surgery. This is like a procedure done by a medieval alchemist, and I don't really think that he would have probably enjoyed that. And it's like realistically, I talked to my aunt about this, and she said like just do not get this procedure. It's really really bad. It's actually worse. The treatment is worse than the disease. just enjoy your last year and a half to 2, 3 years, and like trust me, it's going to be better. Because also, whenever you remove it, there's a chance that on a microbiology molecular level, the cancer does end up spreading anyway. And so, but there have been no metastasizing, etc. And my dad wanted to go through the chemotherapy, and he said, "All right, let's fuck it, let's just do it." And I said, "Okay, all right, well, this is what you want to do. We're gonna do it, right? It's his life." And so anyway, we went through it. Second chemo, the day of his second chemo, like he had been feeling like kind of not really great, but I had kind of chalked that up to the first time he had gone out and done all that stuff that one day. And it's like you haven't gone out or done anything for an entire month. You haven't driven a car for a month, and you do all of this, and you go to the bank too after this. And big surprise, you're not really doing super great after that. But anyway, this is like maybe about like a week and a half ago. Like we go to the second chemo appointment, and he comes home, and he's like talking, like oh my god, he's talking nonstop, right? And so on the way home, and then halfway through the way home, he was just like, right, he was tired. And like I get it, like because he's done this before, right? I didn't really think much of it, but he comes back home and he just collapses on the bed, and he's like after that he's like super like cold, he's shivering. The house, by the way, like we forgot to turn on the AC, it's like 90 degrees Fahrenheit, it's so fucking hot. And so anyway, he's sitting there and he's freezing cold, and his back's hurting him, he can't fucking catch his breath, everything is awful. And I'm like thinking like, okay, well, I want to go home and get ready because I want to go live tomorrow, but like I couldn't do that because he was just in this situation.
Got to point out another thing here that Asmon, you're a very good son. I mean, there are very few good sons like you. So I applaud, and can I say more? I cannot find the words to say how good of a son you are. Not were, are. Remember that. Because the ones we love that have passed, they're never truly gone.
I want to go live tomorrow, but like I couldn't do that because he was just in this situation. So, one thing led to another, and I ended up just sleeping on the floor next to his bed that night. And, he couldn't catch his breath all night. It was just awful. The next day, we had an appointment for a pulmonology appointment, and we figured, well, I mean, instead of just going to the hospital, we might as well have them admit us to the hospital because it was pretty evident that that's what was going to happen. And so we go, and I have to take him in a wheelchair, and everything like that. He's on his oxygen, etc. And like he's not even like super really responsive. Like usually like you guys have seen him like talking like multiple times. Like he used to be a college professor, right? I mean, like he was extremely sharp. And this is something that like I mean, besides like this last like week and a half, he'd never really lost much of his edge. And anyway, so basically, like this is what happened, and he just kind of he went to the hospital, and obviously his blood pressure was like 70/50. So that's
good Lord. No wonder he was cold. His body was trying to fight. But yeah, I mean that's pretty damn low. And not good. There's a too low and a too high, and yeah, it was way too low.
he went to the hospital, and obviously his blood pressure was like 70/50. So that's not a very good one, is it? And he goes to the hospital, he gets admitted, and things basically are not good, but they're like, oh, we think it's this, we think it's that. The end result is that I don't think that they ever really found out entirely what was wrong with him. But in my opinion, it's like, oh yeah, you go and you get chemo, and then after that you collapse and have a massive fucking crash out where you can't breathe. Probably it was because of the chemo, right? I mean, I can't be sure, but that's pretty much it. And so 4 days before he passed, 3 days before he passed, the doctors, I had two doctors in there telling me that, it wasn't a matter of if, but when he gets out of the hospital. I'm pulling into the hospital the next day. The doctor calls me, and she says that, well, we don't know if he's going to leave the hospital. So whiplash, to say the least. And I'm like, I'm freaking out, right? I mean, like, it's just like, this is just, oh my God, right? because I'm dealing with this, by the way, primarily by myself. Like all my family's in Florida. Lucky enough, and I'll get to this, but I was able to handle all this on my own. I did all this by myself. I had friends that would reach out and try to help me, etc. But for the most part, it was really just me doing all of this, and I'm lucky in a lot of ways. But like he's had a lot of friends over the years, obviously, and so many of them were able to like come see him and everything. But I think about it a lot myself, and I think to myself, like, well, like growing up and even like as an adult, there was a lot of friction between me and my dad, right? I would get very angry at him. I'd be very, very furious, angry at him for a number of reasons. Same with my mom, but especially my dad. And I had a lot of resentment for a lot of different reasons, etc. Like, I love my dad. I always love my dad. But he would make me frustrated a lot, and the way that he would act sometimes would make me uncomfortable, and it would bother me a lot. And so there was a very big amount of friction there. But, I remember when I was a kid, and he would always say this. He says, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to hang out with you. I'm not here to be your buddy. I'm here to be your father and to raise you. So, when the time comes and I'm gone, you're going to be able to keep going. And at the time, he's telling.
Wow. 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 He was raised right. You don't have many fathers like that anymore. But yeah, the whole, butting heads in his youth, I mean, that's kind of normal for our generation anyway. Um, but we were taught very quickly and swiftly that our errors of our ways by the people that loved us the most.
And I'm gone, you're going to be able to keep going. And at the time, he's telling me this obviously when I'm 8 years old. And so this is like, I've never met anybody who is even remotely close to as much of a hard ass as my dad is. Like it's not even remotely close. And I'll tell him something bad that would happen to me, and this would turn into a story about how his family didn't have any money growing up, and so he had to hunt squirrels to feed the family. And so it was never, never a time that I could complain to him, and he wouldn't be able to one up it, which would be frustrating for me, right? And there was a lot of, again, like a lot of resentment and frustration there, but at the end of the day, he was a massive fucking hard ass, and that harshness and everything, I think, is probably a lot kind of where I get it from too. But I was thinking, and I would always resent this. I would be very frustrated. But I realized that when he was dying, I was there, and I was able to deal with it, and I was there the entire time. I went till the very end, and I think to myself, at the end of the day, he did it. He, I, I, he, I was ready, and I mean, not as ready as you can be, obviously, right?
I again, I can't imagine watching your father and mother and pass away right in front of your eyes. I've watched plenty of people die right in front of my eyes, but not anyone that close to me. And he's going through some struggles. I mean, just read his face. He's hiding a lot of pain. But hey, Asmon, like I said, brother, you got a lot of good support. You got a lot of family. You got a lot of friends. And you've got this giant, huge community here that wants nothing but the best for you and yours. And just seeing how you've dealt with this and what you're saying publicly, it just tells me that you were a good man and a good son. And I will you got nothing but pure respect for me on that.
But I think about that a lot, and what he set out to do as a father for me, I think he achieved it. And
He did. He did.
I've had a number of days right now just to think about that, and it's been uh, I have a lot of very very complex feelings about that, and that's been basically what's been going on. I've obviously, had to contact all of my family members and everything, and organize everything, and deal with his will and everything. He's giving away most of his stuff to his friends, and we made a video of him. Like, oh, this is going to this guy, it's going to this guy, it's going to this guy, it's going to this guy, and I even made sure in the video. I was like, Pa, who's the car going to? He's got a 2014 Dodge Challenger V8 Hemi Performance Package car. I'm like, Pa, who's the car going to? He says, oh, it's going to you. I said, okay, all right, good. That's in the video. So I'll be getting the car. Everything else, don't give a fuck about it. But I'm getting the car. And obviously a few other things that, growing up, would have sentimental value to me. But otherwise, he's giving away a lot of the stuff to, like different family members and friends, etc. And, I've had to organize all of that and do all of that. It's been a lot of work for me, and the work is not over, but it is beginning to recede, which is good. So, I've lost my mom in 2021, lost my dad, and now it's just me. And
You're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. Trust me, you're not alone. Um, there's a void in your life now that can never be filled, and you will be grieving for a long time. It will never get better. It will hurt less, but till the day you die, you are never going to be the same. And I hate that you lost your father at such a young age. Your father and you are being, that's horrible. And my hat's off to you, brother. You doing all this by yourself is amazing.
lost my dad, and now it's just me. And it's a weird feeling. It certainly is, and I think to myself a lot about it. And I don't really know what to think or how to feel, or I don't think there is a right way to I don't know, like, to feel this way. But my dad.
Feel any way you need to. There is no proper processing of this. No matter what the head shrinkers will say, and no matter what therapists say, you're going through this the stages of the grief and loss. And I'm happy that you seem so composed about it right now. But I know you have your bad days, and we want nothing but the best for you. And we just have had so much going on lately that a lot of people don't sit back and try to give the people that need the love the most some love. So send them some love.
Right way to I don't know, like, to feel this way. But my dad, at the end of the day, always really did try to do his best for me. And like you guys know, on my stream and everything, he was a part of my stream. And I don't think I'll ever really be the same after losing him and going through all of this. But,
you won't.
I to be honest, the only thing that I really felt is that I felt really sad when he passed away, is because there was things that I had wanted to do for him, right? Like, for example, he's a veteran, he's a Vietnam veteran, and I had wanted to go and have him take one of the honor flights to Washington, D.C. and see the memorial and everything. And this is something he had wanted to do, and I had agreed to go with him and to do that. And because you have like a.
Let's back up for a second. The honor flights, I'd love to take my dad to do that, because he is a veteran himself.
do, and I had agreed to go with him and to do that. And because you have like a +1, and they take a lot of the old vets there, and I was really sad. And there was that and a number of things, and to be honest, like not capitalizing and not doing more of those things. Obviously, like I did a lot of things with him, but I have a tremendous amount of regret for not doing more. And it's one of those things where I've had only a few of these in my life where you actually can't undo this. You can't go back and redo it or fix it or undo it or anything like that. You just simply have to live the rest of your life with the consequences of it. And
Right there. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that I saw I should have, could have, would have. It's going to eat you alive for a while. And maybe even the rest of your life. But just remember, he ain't gone. So just keep strong, brothers. Keep strong.
knowing that is I hope I don't make that mistake again. I will do my best to never make that mistake again. I'll tell you that. And I, that's pretty much about it. Um, you know, it's weird even now. Like I'll like think about it, it's like it's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock now, right when I'm recording this, and I'm like thinking like, oh, I should probably call my dad, check in on my dad, and there it is, right? And so I it's gonna take me some time to kind of like get past it. I remember this is the day that we agreed to put him on hospice. I come in and it's like 2 p.m. or like 3 p.m. I come into his room, and he says, "Well, why aren't you streaming?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Why am I not streaming? You're fucking dying!" Like he's like, just whatever. Well, you need to go live. Like, what are you doing? And so, this is the
His father cared more about his son than himself, which that's a good father. That is right there.
kind of guy he was, and I intend to honor that wish, and I'm not gonna be gone forever. I'll be back soon. It's what he
Take your time. Take your time.
would want, and I think it's what's best. I'm incredibly lucky that I was able to deal with all this by myself. My dad growing up and was like the oldest member of the family, patriarch in a lot of ways of the family, would help people with all kinds of stuff, etc. And I find myself tremendously lucky and fortunate that I was able to deal with all of this by myself, and nobody else had to see him in the state that he was in at the end. And they can have the memories of him being a strong, smart, nice, kind guy. And
But you really shouldn't have to deal with this by yourself. Nobody should. So my hats off to you, brother. You strong, strong son. You are a strong, strong man. And like I keep saying, I can see it in your face. You are suffering and grieving. And you're going to have good times and bad times. For right now, you just need to focus on yourself and be with your family and friends. And not worry about streaming.
and funny, very funny. I, I'm very glad that I was able to do all that myself, and nobody had to see what I saw.
I can agree with them there.
Time. But anyway, I will be back. I don't really have a time frame, maybe a week or so, right? I mean, I don't know, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, something like that. If it's longer, too bad. If it's shorter, surprise. So that's pretty much where I'm at. And also for all you guys, I made a post about this on Twitter. All you guys that left positive comments and messages, in this hospital bed. I showed him. I was fucking scrolling. I was like, look at all these messages. Everybody wants you to get better. They're praying for you, everything like that. And he really appreciated it even then. Like, I think he was kind of in shock that it was so many of you all, and so that's really appreciated, and it means a lot. It meant a lot to him. It means a lot to me, and thank you. And so uh, I'll see you soon. That's about it. I, you know, son of a bitch, motherfucker. It's been a fucking crazy past 5 years. Oh my god. Oh my god. But um, that's where we're at. So I wanted to tell you guys all what happened, and that's pretty much about it. And thank you guys, everybody, and I'll see you soon.
So, yeah, I don't really have the words to describe what we just watched. Um, and I don't have the words. I gotta say, just keep strong. Reach out to those you love. Reach out to anybody. You know, you're gonna have some hard times, and I mean, you're already going through hard times, but you're gonna have the ups and downs, and don't pressure yourself to just jump headfirst right back into everything, unless it's brings you some type of peace. So, anyway, Asmon, Asmongold, Zach, and we're all devastated for your loss. Just keep on keeping on. And remember, we'll all be here still when you decide to come back. And we're praying for you and your family and for your dad. But just remember this: your dad is never truly gone. Your mother's never truly gone. They're going to be there right beside you for the rest of your life until the day you die and go be with them again and have a party in the sky. So, anyway, y'all, I just wanted to share my thoughts on Asmon's recent post. And just remember, life is short. We're all in this together. And help those that are needing it the most. So, Asmon, you're stronger than you realize. And look, I don't read a script at all. I just sit down and start throwing out my thoughts. But you shouldn't have had to go through this alone. But it is what it is. And I applaud and give you massive kudos for being such a great son and taking care of your father the way you did. And I've watched so many of you and your dad, go back and forth. It's hilarious. Your dad is so funny. But anyway, Asmon, take your time. We'll be here. And we're praying for you, praying for your family. And you got a lot of love. A lot of love out there. So take care of yourself and do what you have to do for now. And when you're ready to come back to streaming and all that good stuff, you just take your sweet time. Right? Love you, buddy. I've never known you. You don't know me. But, we can still love each other at the end of the day. We're all just humans. And yeah, so much love to you all. Take care. Take care of your family. Remember, we're only here for a little bit of time, and it goes fast. I'm out. Bye.